First story. Terrified that my husband has been having sex with me while I'm asleep. Now I'm pregnant. The author of the post is listed in the description. For some context, I have a serious medical condition that requires some pretty heavy medication. It does a lot of things, including destroy my sex drive and knock me out for long periods of time. My husband and I were married before I was diagnosed, and he supported me through diagnosis and treatment. He's a wonderful man. We used to have a very active sex life, and it has been a considerable strain on our marriage that I never feel in the mood. I feel like a terrible wife in this regard, and I miss being able to do what we both enjoy. To be clear, when I take my medication, I am dead to the world. You could blast a fire alarm next to me and I wouldn't wake up. You could pick me up and toss me around and I might not wake up. Lately, I've felt worse than normal. Really sick, dizzy, uncomfortable, etc. I went to my doctor, scared I might be sick with COVID, and it turns out I'm pregnant. 5 weeks. But I haven't had sex with my husband in at least 2 months, maybe more. I did not cheat on him. I was not assaulted by anyone, anywhere that I know of. This was not immaculate conception. I told my husband, and he was surprised. It's probably 1,000,000 in 1 chance I got pregnant due to the medication I'm on and my condition. He was shocked, then excited, and I was just so relieved he didn't accuse me of cheating that I didn't stop to consider why he didn't. It's been a few days. I've been thinking about when I first started taking my medication. It was hard for him to adjust to me not wanting to have sex, and he used to joke that I could just lay there and watch TV while we do it. And here's what makes me scared, he used to joke that he could just have sex with me while I'm sleeping, and that way I don't have to deal with it, and he can be satisfied. He's mentioned this a couple of times, but always lets it drop when I'm not okay with it. I've started thinking about all the times I woke up in the morning and had uncomfortable pelvic pressure that usually only comes for me after I have sex. My husband likes to be rough, and I don't really mind. We were always pretty wild in bed or adventurous, or bruises I've had that I can't explain. I confronted my husband about this, about me being scared he did this to me, and at the least why he wasn't surprised the dates don't match up. He was angry I would accuse him of something so horrible and insists that I'm just misremembering the last time we had sex. The medication does play with my memory sometimes, but I remember the last time we had sex. I remember every time we have sex now because I don't enjoy it. I don't want to panic. I don't want to talk myself into being convinced he's been having sex with me while I'm asleep. And I don't want to talk myself out of this possibility just to protect our marriage. But I'm terrified. This is the only possibility I can come up with. And if it's true, I don't know what to do. I've been heartbroken for a while over the idea that I wouldn't be able to have kids. Now I'm going to have a baby, and I'm so happy. But what if this baby happened because of what my husband did? Edit. I just want to say the response to this has been insane. Thank you so much to everyone. I'm really lost, and I don't know what to think or do. I'm going to take some time to think about this, get additional information and resources depending on however this is going to go, and figure it out. Just to be clear, however, because there are too many responses to answer directly, no, I have never given permission for my husband to have sex with me while I'm sleeping. Yes, I have asked him if I have ever instigated something while asleep, sleepwalked, sleep spoke, or did anything in my sleep related to sex, and he answered no. We have never had sex outside of a time when I was fully cognizant and aware of what's happening. And yes, I am keeping the baby regardless of what happened. If people are interested, I'll post an update when there is something to write. Again, thank you. Thank you for all the support and opinions. They all matter. Comments. Commenter. Have you had a dating ultrasound yet? The first appointments generally use your last period date along with general ovulation dates to determine how far along you are, and then they will do an ultrasound to see what stage the fetal growth is at to confirm. Because 5 weeks and 7, 8 weeks, with your estimate of 2 months, I just wonder if perhaps you're a little further along. I don't want you to doubt yourself, but a couple weeks is not a lot to be off by. I also would talk to your doctor to figure out your memory lapses because sex a week or 2 later and remembering it a little off could be possible. But listen to your gut. You know you and you know your husband. Cover all of your bases until you feel safe. Commenter. This was my thought too, especially because a lot of people have wonky ovulation times. It can be quite off. I was told I was 7 weeks, and then when we went to the ultrasound, I was so early that there wasn't anything to see, so about 4 weeks. It can happen the other way too. You should be due for a scan soon, and that'll give you more answers. As for all the other stuff like the pain you've been feeling, I can't explain that. Maybe put a camera in your room. Commenter. Also, she mentioned the medicine making it difficult to have kids. I don't know if she just meant in the philosophical sense of the word, but if the medicine has actual effects on her fertility, then there's no telling what it could be doing to her cycle. Of course, her doctors should know any possible side effects and hopefully communicate them. As far as I know, it's not that uncommon for medicine to have side effects that mess with your periods. Really common stuff like aspirin have blood-thinning effects, and things like antidepressants can have some quite unpredictable effects, such as missing a period or irregular lengths. OP, thank you for the advice about going to the doctor. I'm just not sure how to go without him. We're both out of work because of COVID, and since he found out I'm pregnant, he's hyper-aware of everything. I don't mean this to come off in a creepy way, it's just very hard for either of us to do anything without the other knowing. He wants to do everything with me related to the baby, including all doctor's appointments. He's very happy and excited. And if I try and go for a reason other than the baby, I think he'll be very suspicious. I don't want to fight with him until I figure out what's going on. As for our sex life, I can say he's never hurt me. That has never happened. And it's all consensual. I just meant I'm not turned on by sex getting a little rough. That's his kink. And since it doesn't both me and he indulges me in other ways, I'm fine with playing along. He doesn't like to slap me or anything. Not to kink shame, to each their own. He's just into manhandling a bit. He's just very strong and very athletic, and he likes to utilize that during sex. I don't have anyone to stay with outside of some friends, but due to COVID, I don't want to put them at risk or not socially distance, so I have some options to think about while I stay at home with him. Thank you for all the help you've provided. Commenter. If you got pregnant, that means he isn't using protection. If he isn't using protection, then semen is involved. If he's having sex while you're asleep, wouldn't there be signs of semen? When you get out of bed in the morning, does any of it come out? Is there any on the bed or in your underwear? I've never known semen to not come out at some point, especially if you have been laying down since sex. Just another data point to consider. Not sure if it helps. Sorry you are going through this. Uop. I can't remember a time I woke up and felt the remnants of semen. But honestly, my husband is very meticulous when it comes to cleaning up after sex. He won't lay in a soiled bed. He wipes everything and everyone down, and he's always been like this. It seems a little absurd to think he'd do this every time this might have happened to remove proof, but he does this every time regardless, so it's not impossible. He'll spend longer cleaning up after sex than having it. Update. 2 weeks later. I wanted to give an update as to what's been happening in the past 2 weeks. My first post got a crazy amount of attention and lots of people were really kind and helpful, and I want them to know I'm okay. This is going to be really long, just to be warned. To clarify, the medication I'm on for my condition is taken at night, because it affects me the way it does, completely knocking me out. To reassure people, I would not be taking his medication if I had a baby to take care of, regardless of my condition, and I discontinued almost immediately after finding out I was pregnant. Nor does the medication impact my fertility. That has to do with my condition. After I made my post and read through about 300 comments, I think I went a little crazy. I convinced myself that I was making it all up in my head. I doubted everything I thought I knew, and I doubted myself. I went to the hospital to speak to my doctor about the medication and its severe side effects. I asked if it could make me engage in any sexual acts while asleep. I asked if it could make me misremember stuff. I asked if I was going crazy. The answer to all these questions is no. The medication doesn't make any of this even a possibility, and no, my husband doesn't have sexomnia. Neither would the medication mess up my memory so much that I might not remember sex or consenting to it. This medication is not a sedative. After emailing with my OBGYN, who absolutely assured me her prediction of 5 weeks could very much be off by as much as the 3 that would explain my pregnancy, I had to accept that even if some stuff didn't add up, maybe I was destroying 3 lives for nothing. I never woke up with any semen in me. I tend to sleep in just underwear, and I don't remember that being missing or wrong in any way. The pelvic pressure could be explained by the pregnancy. The bruises? I don't know, but people bruise themselves all the time and don't know how. I talked to a counselor provided by the hospital twice. I made the choice to seek out professional help long-term for what happened. Things were bad with my husband, though. I accused him of assaulting me. That destroys a relationship. I was pissed at myself. I've kind of spent almost the past 2 weeks locking myself in the bedroom, humiliated and embarrassed and feeling like shit. We didn't really talk much to each other, and if we did, it was about the baby. I think I knew our relationship was over at that point. I went 2 days ago to get another ultrasound at 7 weeks, just to check on the baby because I've been feeling weird, and to get the pregnancy dated again so I could maybe feel less insane. My OBGYN had a better look at the fetus this time. The original 5 weeks prediction was wrong. Even with a little bit of buffer time to be safe, I was most likely 8 weeks or just about as close as you can get. We absolutely got pregnant during the night I remember having sex. And to clarify, we never used protection because my husband doesn't like condoms. We're in a monogamous relationship. And I've been told since I was a teenager the chances of getting pregnant are slim to none. I was even more humiliated and embarrassed. We just fought after that, and he got really mean and cold. A couple nights ago, we were watching a movie, and it was the closest I felt to him since this started. The fact that he even wanted to watch a movie with me felt like a victory. When it was over, he asked if I really thought he could have raped me. I started crying and he started yelling, demanding an answer. Before I could answer, he started laughing and said he couldn't get me wet enough to penetrate me if he tried. It was him just being mean about my health. My medication doesn't just make me disinterested in sex, it makes it really hard for me to get aroused. When we have sex, we have to use a ton of lube so I don't rip and bleed. I told him that wasn't funny, and he said he really thought it was. We started to fight about my accusation and how it made him feel. When I tried to tell him how sorry I was and how I was just really scared he wasn't the person I thought he was. He said I tried to ruin his life. Then he admitted he tried to finger me a couple times while I was asleep and never got anywhere, so he gave up and that isn't rape. I started screaming at him, demanding to know if he was telling the truth. I started hyperventilating. He started screaming back that he never raped me. He only used his fingers to penetrate me only because he was desperate. He said I really hurt him, accusing him of rape. And it can't be rape because we're married, and it was just his fingers and not his penis. And then he said he'd given me oral while I was sleeping once, trying to get me wet enough for penetration. And that was when he'd stopped. He also admitted to using my hand to jerk him off while I slept, but only a couple times. So that's the truth of it. Our baby was conceived while I participated. But my husband admitted to touching me while I slept. But it's not rape because we're married? He believes that. He stands by it. And I'm crazy for thinking otherwise, according to him. Maybe I am crazy. He's my husband. And I never heard of marital rape until my first post. I don't know what to do now. I don't have any family outside of him. I have some friends, but COVID is happening and I can't impose on any of them. We're probably not that close anyway. Making friends is hard for me. I don't have money, I live paycheck to paycheck normally, and I'm out of work now. I'm scared to go too. I'm not stupid, staying is stupid. We didn't sleep together after he admitted what he did. He slept in the living room, I slept in the bedroom. I think I slept an hour, scared he'd come pick a fight again. It's been like that for 2 nights now. This feels like the end of everything, and I just don't know where we go from here. Or I go from here. He doesn't think he did anything wrong, and he's so mad at me for saying otherwise. Honestly, I'm okay. I want people to know that. Just really lost. I don't know if people care past this point, want another update, whatever. But I truly want to say thank you to everyone who cared. I'm not used to having people who care. Even if I don't know you guys, it was really, really nice. I'm gonna be okay. Shout out to all the people who thought I'm lying, or some person posting a lot of fake stories all under different throwaway names. I just used a throwaway account because I don't want my real Reddit name tied to this, and the community rules said to. Even to the people who said this is fake, thanks for at least making me feel a little less alone. It matters. Comments. Commenter. So at first he would never dream of touching you, and was devastated at the accusation. Then he only fingered you. Then he only gave you oral sex. Then he only gave himself a hand job with your hand. Google trickled truth. I don't believe him. And your instinct that he could be the type of man to do this was spot on. This is domestic abuse. Seek out a local charity or tell you healthcare professionals. Commenter. He also openly admitted that the oral rape was done in an attempt to get her wet enough to attempt achieve him being able to penetrate her with his penis. Commenter. And then he blamed her for it because he was desperate. What an absolute cesspool of an excuse for a human being. Commenter, you could consider reaching out to women's shelters in your area or asking your OB for their advice. Second story, I, 30F, cheated on my husband, 27M, and now I suspect he's seeing another woman. I know I did something awful and disgusting, and when I couldn't take the guilt anymore, I cut off my affair partner and confessed everything to my husband. He got more upset and depressed than angry, and I begged for him to not divorce me. I proposed counseling, therapy, even allowing him to have sex with other women. But he wasn't interested. He said he wanted to try to work us out, and I jumped in being the best wife a man can ask for. I cook his favorite dishes, leave him loving notes, and bought new lingerie to entice him. His reactions are lukewarm at best. He smiles and thanks me, but not once he has said he loves me since I have confessed. He barely initiates anything, and I basically have to push myself on him, not that he complains. Sometimes we talk about this, but I think I still lost the man I love. His behavior with me feels very artificial, and nothing changes his facade. I can be playful, I can be sad, I can get angry, and I can get seductive. His reaction is always this stupid smile and polite words. He was so emotional and sincere before all of this happened. I want him to let out his true emotions with me, even if he hates me. I still love him so much. What can I do to fix this? Relevant comments. Commenter. OP, is this a troll post? If not, please share some details. How long have you been together, and how long was the affair? Who is the other man? Co-worker? OOP, we have been married for 5 years. My affair lasted a couple of months, and it was with a client. Commenter. Okay, thank you. What do you mean by cutting off the affair? Is this person still a client? Do you have to have business contact with him? Are you seeing a therapist? Do you know why you strayed? OOP. I ended my relationship with the client and passed his contract to a coworker. No contact ever since. I have been doing individual therapy. I don't know why I did all this. My body felt like it was on autopilot. He knows I cheated. We didn't separate, and I begged him to not divorce and let me fix this. He agreed, but his behavior since my confession has basically been one of indifference. Like I wrote on my last post, I do my best to be the best wife he could ask for. I cook his favorite foods, get him gifts, screw his brains out every night. He just smiles and thanks me. He acts kind and never yells at me, but I feel his icy indifference under that mask of courtesy. 2 weeks ago, he started coming home late, very late. And when he does, he just goes to bed. I asked him what's going on, and he told me in the kindest way possible that it's not my business. I call him when he stays out, and he picked up only once. I heard a woman laughing in the background. I am starting to think he is cheating back on me. It fucking hurts. If he told me at least I would do my best to stomach it, I deserve this after all. But he won't tell me, he just shuts me out. A common friend told me she spotted him in a car with a woman she didn't recognize, and this felt like a stab in the heart. She said she couldn't describe her exactly because she wore big sunglasses, but she recognized my husband because of his particular taste in neckties. They were talking, but my friend said that from their position it looked like they were holding their hands or one of them was touching the other's lap. I don't know what to do. If he is having an affair, I deserve it, but I need to know. The uncertainty is killing me. Should I confront him? Should I try to find out more? Update. He left me. I did like you guys said and begged him to talk to me. He didn't want to, but I cried and yelled so much I puked all over. He got softer with me, he helped me clean up, and we talked. I asked him if he was cheating on me, and he said he was talking with someone, but didn't do anything with her. I asked if she was the woman my friend saw him with. He thought on it a little, but said no. It was another woman whom he met a month ago in his office. I asked him how could he and said I gave him permission, and he didn't do anything besides unloading his problems and our situation with her. But he played it like he was having a full affair so I could feel what he felt, especially because according to him I neglected him and made it obvious I was cheating on him. He said he was suffering and I was almost rubbing it in his face. I told him I wasn't doing it on purpose, and he said this was even worse because I didn't care at all. He said that everything I did after confessing meant nothing and just made him think I am selfish, self-centered, and lack any sort of self-respect. I asked him if we could work on myself and our marriage, but he said we can have counseling to sort ourselves out. But the marriage is over. He said he wishes no ill on me and decided to cut his charade because he could no longer bear to the woman he once loved suffer like that. But he said I am no longer that woman. I started sobbing again and he held me, but he kept saying no when I asked him we work this out. I asked him what he was going to do and he's moving out. He already found a new place. I asked him if he was going to live with that woman and he said but she was close enough. I asked him how he could pick a total stranger he met a month ago over his wife of 5 years. He said his wife of 5 years no longer exists. He has to pick between two strangers, and that woman made a much better impression on him. I told him he was a fool, and he could not know this woman will probably use and dump him. He got harsh and said she's better than me for sure. He said he won't say to our families our marriage ended because I cheated, but because we grew apart, and that he will leave the house to me as long as I make the divorce smooth. But if I try to take him to the cleaners, drag it out, or cause any problem, he will tell everyone what I did and destroy me and my reputation. This happened yesterday, and he has already packed up almost everything. I can't stop crying, and I can't believe this is happening. This is horrible and unfair. Relevant comment. One last comment from UAP. You guys are right saying that I suck, but he has fault too. He never really wanted to fix this. He used me for months and then discarded me, and yet I want him back and forgive and forget all the hurt we done to each other. As for his girl, I don't think she will be good for him. How do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.